folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on May 8th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 6, 16, 23, 30, and 61. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 6 was red, the 16 was green, the 23 was red, the 30 was orange, and the 61 was purple. Okay, so I'm going to write those in. So again, the 6, 23 were red. Okay, the 16 was green. And the 30 was orange. And the 61 was purple. So now I'm going to count how many colors I have. I have 2 red, 1 green, 1 orange, and 1 purple for 4 colors total. Okay, so now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to make this, I keep track of how many color code drawings I kept track of. So this is now up to 329. Okay, and now a 4 color combination has now come up 109 times. Okay, so what I want you to look at here is the 3 color combination, all right? This has come up 178 times out of 329 drawings, okay? So if you do some quick math, you can see a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time, okay? And to me, that's huge because if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, statistically, I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start over. I'm going to make a new game card here. So I'm going to eliminate all these colors and start from scratch, okay? So my color code is right here. This is all the red numbers, the orange, all the green, blue, and purple, okay? So what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers and I divided it by 5 different colors, okay? 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? And that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the red numbers. And I'm just going to do this the last 3 drawings of numbers. And the reason why that is because this will give me a maximum of 15 red numbers, okay? So again, I'm going to start in with the 6, the 16, the 23, the 30, the 61, the 5, 23, which is already taken, the 28, the 56, and the 66. Okay, and the last row, 2, 29, 41, 45, and 62. So again, I'm going to make these red numbers. Okay, so as I look at this, now this keeps track of the last 3 drawings, and you can see with these last 3 drawings, the majority of the numbers have been over here to the right side, okay? So that's something that I like to keep track of and look at, all right? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to the orange numbers. I'm going to start in with the 6, but I see that's already taken, okay? So I'll start with the next number, the 32, the 35, 36, 65, 3, 27, 30, which is already taken. 63, 65 is taken. And then the 1, 15, 17, 46, and 66, which is already taken. So the last line is 4. 17 is already taken. 26, 32 is taken, and the 49. So again, I'm going to make these orange numbers, okay? And I'm going to count how many I have. So I have 3 and 4 is 7, and 3 is 10, 2 is 12, and 2 is 14. And that's where I like to be. Okay, I don't think I ever counted those reds. Okay, so I got 3, and 3 is 6, 2 is 8, 2 is 10, and 4 is 14. So I'm going to make this 14. Okay, so up here it tells me how many colors I have on the game card. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to green. I'm going to start with the 12. 21. 23 is taken. 39. 67. 15 is taken. 33. 43. 59. 60. Then the next line is 16, which is taken. 19. 25. 32 and 49 are taken. So down here, the next line is 21, which is taken. 52. 54. 64 and 68. And then the next line is 16, which is taken. The 20 is open. 37, 44, 62 is taken. And then the 24, 25 is taken. 52 is taken. 60 and 66 are taken. So I'm going to make these green numbers. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 2 and 3 is 5. 6 and 2 is 8, and 4 is 12, 4 is 16, and 2 is 18. So I have 18 green numbers here. Okay, so here's the thing about my color code here. This color code is set in stone. Okay, so just because I have a couple more green that I want, that doesn't mean that I could just make this last line all blue. Okay, to trim the numbers down a little bit. Okay, so how this works is like this 6 right here will work its way down like a caterpillar, okay? And it will straighten out all the colors, so eventually this 18 green will go down to, 13 or 14 at some point, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll to the right just to speed things up, okay? So this is what the game card looks like for this drawing. Turned out to be 14 red numbers, 14 orange, 18 green, 13 blue, and 10 purple. Okay, so again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. Okay, so that means 2 colors are not coming up. And that's what I want to focus on here. Okay, so again, the object of the game is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so you can see that all 5 colors do come up. Okay. It's come up 12 times out of 329 drawings, okay? So it's very rare that it comes up, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction or a guess on what color will not be coming up, okay? So for me, I'm going to pick no purple numbers, okay? So a purple number has come up in the last 2 drawings. There's only 10 purple numbers, so I'm going to just go with that and say no purple numbers will be coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block out these numbers, these purple numbers. Okay, so when I block out a number like this 13 here, that means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm buying a Powerball ticket with the Power Play, which costs $3. So in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these purple numbers will come up in the next drawing, okay? So if I'm correct with my guess and none of these purple numbers come up, I'm 1 step closer to that $2 million prize, okay? So what I'm going to do is I like to get you involved here at home. I like you to draw out the game card. So what I'm going to do is if you could grab some paper and draw this out. Okay, you really don't even need to put in the numbers. Okay, just draw out the squares. And if you're going to follow me and say that no purple numbers are going to come up, then what I like you to do is X out these purple numbers at home. Just like so. Okay, so just X out the squares. And this is what your game card should look like at home. Okay, so again, if you don't think a number is going to come up, then X it out. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to move on to the next strategy, which is strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers, okay? And basically what I did here is I took all the 69 numbers and divided it into 7 different groups, okay? So you can see I got the 40 group, the 50, the 60, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. Oops. Okay, so again, the first group is 1 through 9. This is the only one with 9 numbers to it, okay? Then the rest have 10 to equal that 69 numbers, okay? So I got 1 through 9, then the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Again, for 7 groups total, okay? So there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my prediction here. And basically how this works, or how I design this, is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings, okay? And the reason why I like to break it down into 5 is for a couple reasons. When I go back into the history of the drawings, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25, and so on, okay? But my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa, okay? So what I'm going to do here is, my prediction is I usually just like to pick one group, okay? Because the more you pick, the more of a chance that you're going to get it wrong. But for this drawing here, I'm going to take 2 groups, okay? And I'm going to take this group number 1, 1 through 9, okay? Now, I don't have it on here, but the 6 just came up, okay? And that's a red number, so I have, in the last 7 drawings here, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that one of these 1 through 9 numbers have come up, okay? So usually after 5 drawings in a row, if a group of numbers have come up 5 times in a row, then usually it doesn't hit that 6, okay? So here's 6 over here and over here. Here's 7 over here and over here in the 60 numbers. You can see that it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. Okay, so I'm going to go with no numbers 1 through 9 are going to come up, and no 60 numbers are going to come up. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, so I'm going to eliminate those numbers off of the game card. But before I do that, I'm just going to update this here to show you how this works. So again, the 6 came up, so I'm going to go to the 6 and line it up with the numbers that just came up here. So I'm going to make this a red number, a red square, because the 6 was red, okay? And the 6 was red because the color code said it was, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many groups it hit. So the 6 is in the 1 through 9 group. The 16 is in the 60 group, the teen group, I mean. The 23 is in the 20 group, the 30 is in the 30 group, and the 61 is in the 60 group for 5 groups that it came up, okay? So what this tells me is, or what I look for is, you know, I see that the 4 comes up the most, okay? That it hits 4 groups, and then the 3 comes up a lot, okay? 5 comes up every now and again, and a 2 will come up like every once in a blue moon, right, like right here, okay? So you can see the 1, 2, 3, 7, and 39 came up for 2 groups total. Okay. So I tried to correctly guess how many groups are going to be coming up for this next drawing here. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that it's going to be another 5. Okay. So you see 5 has been coming up, but it hasn't doubled up. Okay. So it hasn't doubled up in a long time, like right here. Okay, so I'm going to predict that that's going to happen. So I'm going to predict that since the 1 through 9 group is not going to come up and the 60 group is not going to come up, that all these other groups will have a hit to it. Okay, the teen, the 20, the 30, the 40s, and the 50s. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down for you, reduce this down again for you to make a decision at home. Okay? So you decide which one of these groups will not have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay? So if you need more time, then pause the video. Okay? And then go to your game card and eliminate the numbers that you don't think are going to come up. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the game card. And again, I'm going to predict that no numbers of 1 through 9 are going to come up. And no 60 numbers are going to come up. Okay, so I'll take those off the game card here. All right, so hopefully I'm correct and none of those numbers come up, which means that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 3, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, what I like to do is try to correctly guess what will be coming up in the next drawing and help me strategize what numbers to get rid of. Okay, so with this last drawing here, again, the numbers were 6, 16, 23, 30, and 61. So you can see that there was 3 even numbers and 2 odd numbers. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is make this 374. So I kept track of 374 drawings. And basically, this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball Lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so again, there was 2 odd numbers and 3 even. Okay, so with the majority, I highlight what the majority was, and you can see that I highlighted it blue. Okay. And now I'm going to make this 178. Okay, so out of 374 drawings, 178 drawings have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so again, what I like to do is try to guess what the upcoming majority will be. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to break things down into 5. That way it would give me a majority. And also it's easier to count backwards into the history going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but out of this 5 drawings here, you can see that the majority was odds, 4 drawings to 1. Okay, and before that it was 5 drawings, 4 were the majority of evens. Okay, and then it was odds, 4 to 1. Okay, so the majority of the time it usually comes up 3 to 2, 3 to 2. Okay. So there's been a lot of 4 to 1s here, okay? So since this is the last one of 5, I'm going to predict that this is going to say evens, 3 drawings to 2, okay? So to make that happen, more odd numbers are going to have to come up, okay? At least 3 odd numbers are going to have to come up to make that happen, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that more odd numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to write that down, okay? And I want you to write down what you think it's going to be as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go back into the history a little bit here just to show you. You can see that there was a bunch of odds right here. So I really thought that this was going to be the majority of even numbers even before this started, okay? But now I just think it's going to go 3 drawings to 2, okay? So again, I'm going with more odd numbers than even, so I want you to make your pick. And if you need more time, then pause the video, okay? So I'm going to move on to this high and low. All the numbers in blue are considered low. All the numbers in red are considered high, okay? So you can see the 65, 67, and 66 are here in blue. When those come up, they do go into the low area here, okay? So you can see with this one's dead even at 187 to 187, which I think is really cool after, you know, all these 374 drawings here, you know? So what do I think is going to be next? Okay, so here you can see it's been 4 to 1, 3 to 2, 3 to 2. There's been a lot more to the high side than the low side within all these drawings here. So I kind of thought that this was going to be low, but I'm thinking that this next one, since the majority of the time it comes up 3 to 2 for some reason, okay? And I'm just going to go with that, and I'm going to say that I think this is going to be 3 to 2 as well. So I think more numbers to the high side, at least 3 numbers will be here in the red area, is what I'm thinking, okay? So I'm going to write that down, more numbers to the high side. And I'm going to show you why I like to do this, okay? So you make your decision on what you think it's going to be. Okay, so this is the 5th position. So here, this is the 5th position. And the last time it was low. Before that, it was low. High, high, low, high. You know, it's all random. So something's going to happen. So you just try to correctly guess what's going to happen. Okay, so moving on to the left and right here. You can see that the right has the majority, okay? And as I go back into here, you can see that there was a bunch to the right side, okay, that came up for the majority here. So I think that this is going to be 3 to 2 as well. So I think more numbers are going to be over here to the left side than the right side, okay? So if we go back into the 5th position here, again, it's been to the left, right, left, left. Oops, I'm sorry. Just going back and forth, going back and forth. So, again, I just think that the majority of the numbers are going to be to the left side, okay? So, if you think it's going to be to the right, then write that down, okay? And the last one I have is this red and blue area here. You can see that the red is so far ahead. 208 drawings to 166 drawings, okay? So you can see that the majority is already blue, but I think it's going to be that 3 to 2 again, okay? Which means that I think that the majority of the numbers will be to this red area, okay? So we'll see what happens, all right? So the last thing I got is this is for the Powerball number itself. I do have something for it. If you just get the Powerball number right, that's worth $4, all right? And if you have the power play, it's either times 2, 3, or 4, or 5. So that 5 comes up and you get the Powerball right, that's $20. So that's not too bad. All right, so how you read this is, again, there's 26 red ball numbers in the Powerball Lottery. So basically in this column, I just divided the numbers in 2. So if you see a blue number, that's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26, okay? So over here in this column, if you see a red number, that means it's odds. If you see a blue number, that means it's evens. Okay, so why I do that is now I just kind of look at the colors, you know. So when I see a big stretch of blue like this, well, I think it's going to be red eventually, you know. So if I say, gee, I think that this is going to be a red number, okay, then that means I just cut the numbers in half, okay? So now I'm only looking at 14 to 26 instead of all 26 numbers, okay? Same here with odds and evens. You can see that there's a big streak of blue. So if this next one is red, then that means I'm just looking at the odd numbers, okay? So now I'm just looking at the high and the odds. So I'm going to be looking at the 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, and 25. So I'm just going to focus on those numbers instead of all 26 numbers, okay? So that's how that works. I've been going with the 9 for the last 10, 12 drawings, and it just doesn't seem to want to come up, okay? So I might be going with the 17 again. Maybe that will come back up. I see that happen a lot where, like this 23 right here, you know, it comes up and then another number comes up and then the 23 comes right back up. You know, that number comes right back up again. So that could happen right here with the 17 coming up, then the 2, and then maybe the 17 will come right back up. All right, so who knows? It's all your best guess. But I'll be looking at either the 9 or the 17. Okay, so moving on. Why don't I just, well, I'll show you what this green thing is. This means that the Powerball repeated itself. You can see the 14 came up and then it came right back up again. Okay, so you can see how often that happens. Okay, so again, you make your decision on what you think is going to do, and if you need more time, then pause the video. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the numbers and divided it into 4 different groups. I put colors to these groups. So when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers land within these groups, I'll record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so the last drawing, the numbers were 6, 16, 23, 30, and 61. Okay, so there are no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. There are 4 in the blue area. There are no winning Powerball in the orange area, and there was one in the green, that's 61. Okay, so when there's a hit, I color the background red for hot. And if there's a miss, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so again, let me put this in, making this 85 and 104, which tells me how many blue marks I have in this column here. Okay, so I have 104 blue marks here in this orange area. Okay, so again, the object of the game is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so the strategy for this group 1 is to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Now, if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have eliminated all those numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize. Okay, so moving on to number 2 here, I actually have 15 of these option cards, and they all kind of look the same as far as the colors, red, blue, orange, and green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card. Okay, so I'm going to update this one. So again, it was 6 orange, 16 green, 23 green, 30 orange, and 61 orange. Okay, so there was no red numbers, no blue numbers, 3 orange numbers, and 2 green numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to make this red because for hot, because they had a hit. And these blue for cold. Make this 74. And this one 90. Okay, so you can see like this one in the green, this one had a streak of 14 drawings in a row where one of these green numbers came up, okay? And then it finally missed, all right? So, you know, this is why I do the 50-50 picks here, okay? So I could envision where those numbers are, okay? So again, I think more numbers are going to be to the left side, and I think more numbers are going to be to the high side here, okay? So what does that tell me? That maybe this square right here won't be coming up. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards, so I have a group 1 overview, all right? So this keeps track of all the red areas for the 15 option cards, the blue, the orange, and the green, okay? So as a group for all 15 red areas, last drawing, there was 7 zeros, okay? Among all 15 option cards, okay? There was 5 in the blue areas, okay? 2 in the orange and 3 zeros in the green area, okay? So why I do this is I try to correctly guess where these blue numbers are going to come up, okay? So in other words, let me go over the 7 here with the red, okay? So option card number 1, you can see a 0 here. Okay, option card number 2 had the second 0. Option card number 5 had the third 0. Option card number 9 had the 4th. 11 had the 5th. 13 had the 6th. And 14 had the 7th. Okay, so I'm going to hit the home button. Brings me right back. Okay, so again, you can see how, you know, there was 7 zeros among those red marks. Okay, so I look at this and I try to correctly guess where this blue mark is going to be, and it looks like there might be one here in the blue. Okay, because you can see that sometimes these blue marks, they double up or triple up. Here in this blue area, you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 single blue marks. Okay, so when's it going to double up? Like right down here. Okay, this might be the drawing where that does. So maybe there's going to be at least 5 or more zeros among these blue areas. Okay, so maybe this blue, since I think most of the numbers are going to be over here to the left and up here, then maybe this blue won't be coming up, okay? So right now it's up to 15 drawings in a row, okay? And it just had 4 numbers in it in the last drawing. So I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think any of these blue numbers are going to come up, okay? So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to the game card, and I don't think that any of these numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, just like so. So hopefully none of those numbers come up, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so moving on for the next one. This option card number 2. I'm going to leave this one alone, okay? I'm not sure what's going to happen. Another thing that happens with these is called a row. That's when all 4 colors have a hit to it, okay? So that could really screw you up if you're trying to eliminate numbers, all right? Also, if I don't see a row in a little while, and I think a row is going to come up, then I want to, like if I think that this option card number 3 will have a row to it, then I want all 5 numbers to represent these 4 colors, okay? So I'm not going to pick anything here. I'm going to move on to option card number 4. And certainly here with this option card number 4, this could have another row to it right here, okay? You can see there's a bunch of single ones here. So maybe it's due to double up like right here. So I'm going to leave that one alone. And then here what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick with this orange right here. I'm going to go with this orange. I just think that it's due to have a 0 to it. Okay. So I'm going to eliminate all these orange numbers, the 5, 6, 15, 16, all the way down. Okay, so hopefully none of those numbers come up. Now, the 53 shares the square with the 69 here, so I'm going to get rid of this 53. Okay, so I want you to notice these numbers off here to the left. So as I go back to the group 1, you can see there's no numbers off here to the left. Okay, so what I did is I want this grid right here of 8 squares down and 8 squares across. Okay, that equals 64, but there's 69 numbers. Okay, so what I decided to do was have them share a square here, like this 53 and the 69 share a square. And basically all it is keeping track of groups of numbers, okay? So among all these orange numbers, I'm going to get rid of all the orange numbers, including the 53 and the 69 as a group, okay? So that's all it is, all right? So moving on to the next one, option card number 6. Again, I think more of the numbers are going to be up here and over here. And I think that there's going to be more odd numbers than even numbers, okay? So this orange looks pretty attractive, but also there's a big gap between the rows here, okay? So maybe a row will be coming up right here where all 4 of these colors will have a winning Powerball number to it. So I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm going to move on to number 7. I've been looking at this green one. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 single zeros here. When's it going to double up or triple up? You know, there's a little gap between rows here, so maybe a row will come up. So I'm going to leave that one alone as well. Here with number 8, you can see that all 4 colors are in each of these squares here. So when that happens, I just go down to the stats alone and look for something. Like a 1 comes up a lot, like this right here. So maybe this will be a 1, and if that's a 1, then the 0 has to be right here, okay? So maybe you want to consider that one. Moving on to number 9, I'm going to leave this one alone as well. But maybe this green, or, you know, there's a big gap right here, so maybe there'll be a row where all 4 colors will be represented, okay? And here, what this means right here, number 3, is that within this blue area, there's been no 3 zeros in a row like this, okay? And with all the other ones, you can see that it happened. They come up a lot, like here in the orange, okay? Here in the green. Back here in the red, okay? So it happens a lot, but over in this blue area right here, there's never been 3 zeros in a row, okay? But, and I love to take it, but there's been such a gap of no rows here. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one alone. I think it's going to be a row. All right, we'll see what happens, but I'm going to leave this one alone. All right, so moving on to 11. Again, I think a lot of blue are going to be missing. Okay, have a lot of zeros in the blue area. Okay, so but I'm not sure about this one. Again, there's a little gap between rows, so maybe a row will be coming up again. So I'm going to leave that alone, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay, so you can see that, you know, I just tried to divide these into groups of numbers as many times as I could to give me a an advantage, you know, to hopefully see something where it makes sense to me that there'll be a zero here. Okay. Again, I really don't see anything here. Okay. So this is why I made so many for myself. All right. I want as many option cards as possible to give me as many options as possible. Okay. So here I'm going to make a pick with this number, with this blue right here. Okay. I think a zero is going to pop up right here. And like I said, 3 zeros, you know, it comes up a lot. Here's 5 over here. 3 more over here, 3 over here, okay? I mean, this blue column has a couple, but it's been a while since all 3 zeros came up in a row here. So I'm going to go with this one. Again, I think there's going to be lots of blues, all right, in the option card. So I'm going to eliminate the 2, 4, 9, 11 all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 18 and 20. The 25 shares the square with the 65, so I'll get rid of that. And the 27, the 34, the 36, the 41, the 43, the 50, 52, and this 59. Okay, so hopefully I made all the correct picks so far, and none of these blocked out numbers will come up. Okay, so, you know, like Sherlock Holmes would say, it's a matter of deduction. If these numbers don't come up, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be within these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to continue on here. Again, I have 15 of these option cards. So here's option card 14. I'm not going to pick from this one, but if you want to, the one that I could recommend is this green area. So far, there's only 69 of these blue marks over here, where there's 102 in the red area. Okay, it just came off a long streak of 26. So then I had a 1, and maybe this will be a 2 and a 0 right here. Okay, so who knows? All right, but if you want to go with that one I could highly recommend. And then with this 15, you can see that there's a big gap between rows here. So I'm thinking that this will probably be a row where all 4 of these colors will have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so that's it for group 1. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1 where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers. Okay, except with this one, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 3 of these colored groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to update this one. So for here with my group 2 numbers, I have 15 of these option cards as well. Okay, and they all use the same colors as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so you can see here's option card number 1, option card number 2. You can see that how the colors are different. okay? And then option card number 3, you can see how the colors are even different, more different, okay? So I'm going to start off with this one, and the winning Powerball numbers for the last drawing were the 6 brown, 16 yellow, 23 gray, 30 brown, and 61 purple. So I had 1 purple, 2 brown, 1 gray, 1 yellow. So as I go down here, okay, in the red area, there was a 0. No winning Powerball numbers came up. In the blue, no winning Powerball numbers. The orange, no winning Powerball numbers. And the green, no winning Powerball numbers, okay? So if I could have just taken one of these, I would have been correct, okay? But over here in the purple, the 61 came up. In the brown, it was a 6 and the 30 for 2 numbers. In the gray, there was one at 23. And in the yellow, there was one at 16. Okay, so now I count how many groups got hit. So I got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now since the majority of the numbers were over here to the right side, I colored this 4 green. Okay? So when I look at this 4 up here where it's red, I know that the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side for that particular drawing. Okay? So what I do over here is, you know, when I see a big streak of green, then I think that it's due to miss at some point. I think that it's due to be red, which means the majority of the numbers will be over here to this left side. Okay? And that's what I'm thinking. I think that this next one will be red right here, okay? So I'm going to be looking to eliminate numbers over here to the right side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for this purple area. So you can see that there's blue, there's yellow, there's red, okay? What does this mean? So I'm going to go back to the top and go over this, okay? So again, what I like to do is divide things into 5. For 1, it shows me the majority, and 2, it's easier to count going back into the history, going 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on, okay? So you can see with this first 5 drawings, the background is blue. And the reason why it's blue is because there's 3 zeros here, okay? So that means no winning Powerball numbers came in this red area right here, okay? 3 drawings in a row, so the majority was 0, so again I colored the background blue for cold. The next one down, you can see that there was 3 hits to it, okay, out of these 5 drawings, so I colored the background red for hot, okay. So this is what random looks like, okay. It's been really cold, then it gets really hot and cold, okay. And that's how that works. So when it gets down to 4 drawings out of 5, this yellow tells me that it's even. 2 hits, 2 misses, okay? 1 more drawing coming up, what's going to happen? Do you think this is going to be a red? If you think that this area is going to be red, then that means it's going to be a hit, okay? And that means that one of these numbers will be coming up, if you're correct, okay? So again, this helps me predict what numbers won't be coming up. That's what I want to focus on here. Only 5 numbers can come up. 64 numbers cannot, okay? So here, this 4 means this just counts the red marks. So you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? So far there's 1, 2, 3 right here. 3 hasn't come up in a while. So maybe all 3 of these will become blue marks, okay? Because if I think that this is a 3 right here, well, there's already 3 red marks. 1, 2, 3, okay? So that means these all have to be blue. So we'll see what happens, but I'm actually not even going to pick any of those yellows. I'm going to go with this purple. I think the 0 is going to be right here. And that's what I'm going to go for, okay? So I'm going to eliminate the purple numbers off of the game card, okay? So the 5 down to the 61. Okay, so the only one left is the 45, so I'll get rid of that. And hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay, so moving on to number 2. Okay, here I updated everything. Okay, so again, we got 3 of these that are right on the verge of being something, either red or blue. What do you think it's going to be? All right. For me, I'm going to go with this red over here. I'm not going to pick from the yellow for this drawing either. I'm going to pick from the red because out of these red drawings here, out of these red numbers, one of them has come up in the last 7 drawings. Okay. We found that out in the individual numbers. Okay. So this one looks like the most attractive to me, so I'm going to go with that. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of these red numbers, and I'm going to go back to the game card, and you can see that they're all gone, okay? Including the 66, which shares the square with the 8, okay? So there's nothing to erase there, and that's the way it goes sometimes, okay? So I'm going to go back to this group 1 here. I mean option card number 1 for you at home. Okay, so again, this is the bread and butter of the system because there's 8 options and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down slowly for you, and I want you to pick where you think that 0 is going to be, okay? So again, there's going to be 3 of them. So go ahead and decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video and then X out those numbers that you don't think are going to come up. Okay, so one last thing with this option card number 1 is you can see that in the red area it was 0, blue 0, orange 0, green 0. Okay, so what I do is I keep track of, this is what I call the group 2 overview. Okay, so much like group 1 where this is the red area for option card number 1. You can see that there was 0 to it. Right here, okay? And then in option card number 2, there was a 1. And then in option card number 3, there was another 1, okay? So you can see there's 0, 1, 1. So this represents all 15 option cards just for the red areas, okay? So in the last drawing, there was 7 hits. Out of 15 option cards, 7 of them had a winning Powerball number to it, and 8 of them did not have any kind of winning Powerball number to it. Okay? So with the blue area, there was 9 option cards with a winning Powerball number, and 6 cards without a winning Powerball number to it. Okay? So this is where I keep the overview of group 2. Okay, so as I go back again, it was 7, 8 for the red and 9, 6 for the blue. I'm going to write that in. Okay, so since the majority was misses, 8 misses to 7 hits, I colored the background blue for cold. And since this one had a bunch of hits to it, I colored the background red for hot. Okay, so why I do this is now again I just look at the colors, okay? So I try to predict which one is going to have the blue mark. That means that there's going to be lots of misses among those option cards, at least 8, okay? So what I'm thinking is that there's going to be a blue mark here in the blue area and a blue mark here in the brown area. So as I'm going through these option cards, I want to keep that in the back of my mind that I think there's going to be lots of misses among these blue and brown areas among all 15 option cards, okay? So as I go back to option card number 2 here, let me go back to the overview here so you can get a good sense of things, okay? So how this works is for for every 5 drawings, if the majority was hits or red, I put a red mark right here, every 5 drawings, okay? So this is coming up to a mark right here. You can see that it's hot, hot, miss, miss, all right? So something's going to happen here, all right? In the last 10, it's been more hot than cold, all right? So maybe this will be cold right here. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I think that this is going to be blue, okay? And right here, you can see that this is already going to have a red mark to it. But again, I just think it's going to be a blue mark right here. Okay, so you decide for yourself where you think there's going to be lots of misses, all right? So as I go back to the group 2 here, I already picked no red, but I'm going to give you a chance to pick, okay? So I'm going to scroll down slowly. Okay, and you decide where you think one of those 3 zeros are going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off of your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 3. Okay, so now that you know how to use this, things will go by a little bit quicker now, okay? So for 3, what I'm going to pick is I'm going to pick no brown numbers, okay? So as I scroll down, you see that things got really, really hot right here. And now I think things are going to cool off. So I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate those brown numbers. And that's the 5 and the 34 off of the game card. So the only one there is the 42. So hopefully that doesn't come up. Okay. And now for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. You see how much red is over here. So this is the red area over here. So there may be lots of zeros over on this side and more hits over on this side. Okay. But I still think that brown is going to miss. Okay, so make your prediction on where you think one of those 3 zeros will be. And then eliminate that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 4. For me, I usually just like to pick 1. Okay. But here, I'm going to go with 2 of them. Okay. Because the reason why is because, you know, the last had 3 here, which means 3 red marks, okay? And then the last time was here. But then, you know, when I see this one up here, it's all singles, okay? Which means, like here, doubled up, okay? So I think that this is going to double up right here. I think there's going to be another 3, and you can see that there's already 3 red marks. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this blue and orange doesn't come up. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of both of them. So I'm going to get rid of the 13 and 41 and the 21 and 49 off of the game card. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. Again, you decide where you think one of those 3 zeros are going to be and eliminate that group of numbers off your game card. Certainly this green area looks pretty attractive, okay? Okay, so if you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that group of numbers off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 5. For me, I couldn't decide what group of numbers I thought was going to miss, okay? And that's all right. You don't need to pick from all of them, okay? In fact, the more that you pick, the better chance that you're going to get something wrong, okay? So there was 2 red marks here. There's been a 2 up here. So I don't know. I just kind of make a guess. Okay. But I am thinking that there's going to be a hit here in this gray area. Okay, so maybe one of these numbers will be coming up in this gray area here. So keep an eye on that. Okay. So for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly for you. And again, you decide where you think one of those 3 zeros will be. Okay, if you need more time, then pause the video. Certainly this brown looks pretty attractive. Remember I said I thought there was going to be lots of misses in the blue and brown area. So maybe this brown, but I'm not going to pick from it. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Option card number 6. Here I'm going to go with the yellow area. Okay, so you can see that things got pretty hot down through here. And now I think that this is going to be a 0. Okay, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going to eliminate this yellow. 2, 9, 18, 65 all the way down. And there's nothing to get rid of. Okay, so that happens. And again, I made my pick. And I'm not going to go for a second one. Okay. I'm just going to move on to the next option card. But for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. And again, you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on. Option card number 7, I'm going to go with no brown. So as I scroll down through, you see that things got pretty hot through here, and I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers, and that's the 1, 10, 3, 12 all the way across. So I'll get rid of the 10 and the 12. And hopefully those numbers don't come up. Okay, so for you at home, we're going to scroll down slowly here for you. And again, you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. One of 3 of them. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 8. For me, I'm going to go with this red area. So as I scroll down through, see that things got pretty hot right through here. So I think that 0 is going to be right here. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to get rid of those red numbers. And that's the 5, 16, 21, 31 all the way down. So there's no numbers there. So for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly for you. Okay, and again, you decide where you think one of those zeros will pop up. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 9. As I scroll down, I think it's going to be the blue area. You see things got really, really hot through here. And now I think the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going to get rid of this blue. And that's the 2, 27, 16, 21 on the right side. And there's no numbers there. Okay, so for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. And again, you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video and then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to number 10. For me, I'm going to go with the brown. As I scroll down, you see that thing's got pretty hot through here, so I think the 0 is going to be right here. Again, I think there's going to be lots of blue and brown misses, so I'm going to eliminate these brown numbers, and that's the 11, 26, that pattern all the way around. So it's just a 26. And hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay, so for you at home, we're going to scroll down slowly here for you. One that looks pretty attractive is this gray area right here. That certainly might have a 0. Okay, so you predict where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video and then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 11. For me, I'm going to go with no yellow numbers. Okay, so as I scroll down through here, you see that thing's got pretty hot through here, so I just think it's going to stay cool. And I think the 0 is going to be right there. So I'm going to get rid of these yellow numbers here. And that's the 4, 21, 39, 50. So I'll get rid of the 39. Okay, so I'm getting down here. I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 3 more numbers to get rid of here. Okay. So for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. And again, you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video and then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to 12. I'm going to go with brown again here. So as I scroll down through, you see that thing's got kind of hot through here, okay? But again, I think there's either going to be lots of blue or lots of brown. I'm going with the brown here. So I think the 0 is going to be right here, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to get rid of the 7 and the 35. So I'll get rid of that 35. Hopefully that doesn't come up. Okay, so I got 3 and 4, 7 numbers. So I got 2 more numbers to get rid of here. Okay. So for you at home, I'm going to scroll down slowly. And you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, folks, just 3 more to go. Off to option card 13. I'm going to pick no purple numbers, okay? So as I go down through here, you see things got pretty hot through here, and now I think the 0 is going to be right here. So hopefully none of these purple numbers come up, and that's the 17 and the 69. So I'll get rid of the 17 and the 56. And that will bring me down to my 5 numbers. Okay, so I think it's going to be the 19, the 28, the 33, the 46, and the 55. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the individual numbers here for a quick second. Okay, so you know how I said that I thought this 5 was going to come right back up. Okay, so the 19 is in its own, the 28, the 33, 46, and 55. So that will make that happen. Okay, and then in this here in this group 2 area, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back here for you at option card 13. Oh, what was it here at number 8, where I thought there was going to be a hit in the gray? Actually, is number 5. Okay, if we remember, we had this big streak right here, and I thought there was going to be at least one hit here. So let's see if anything matches up, and the 33 does. Okay, so I like that. We'll see if that 33 does come up. Okay, so again, we're at number 13 for you at home. So, you know, it really doesn't matter what I come up with. You know, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. And if you follow my picks for as long as I've been picking, you know, I haven't really gotten any winners. So you may not want to follow me on everything here. But for you at home, here's option card 13. I'm going to scroll my way down slowly here for you. So it's best for you to pick your own numbers, okay? You might be right or I might be wrong, okay? So again, pick where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video and then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so I'm all done picking my numbers, okay? So just to speed things up, I'm going to concentrate for you at home. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. I think one of these are going to have a 0 to it. Maybe this brown, okay? Who knows? Okay, so you pick where you think the 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so moving on to the last one, option card 15. I'm going to scroll down slowly here for you. Okay, so you decide where you think that 0 is going to be. If you need more time, then pause the video. And then X out that color group off your game card. Okay, so that's about it. All right, so again, I'm going to go back to the game card. And for me, I'm going to go with the 19, 28, 33, 46, and 55. Okay. Is there more odds than evens? There's 19, 33, and 55, and more to the high side, the 33, 46, and 55. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Okay, what are the odds of me getting this all correct? Well, they're pretty high. Okay, so the grand prize to get all 5 white balls and the red ball the odds are 1 in 292 million. Okay. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct. The odds of doing that are 1 in 11,688,000. Okay, a nice prize is 4 white balls and a red ball, pays 50,000 plus the power play, either times 2, 3, 4, or 5. Okay, so times 5, that would be 250,000. The odds of doing that are just about 1 in a million. Okay. Moving on, a more realistic prize is getting all 4 white balls correct. That pays $100 plus the power play, or 3 white balls and a red ball. And a $7 prize is 3 white balls or 2 white balls and a red ball. Okay, Plus, if you get just a red ball, that pays $4. Okay, so you can see what how the odds are just so astronomical that you really should play responsibly. Okay, so I just want you to know that if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week, you would spend $312 per year on the lottery. Okay, so moving on. In closing, I just want to thank you for watching. If you like to support my channel, then please go to my